after we did whatever the last speed drill we did, we would get them back, and I would grab usually Coach Cantlin, and I'd say, okay, we're doing principle. Every practice, every day, with the exception of Fridays, and even most Fridays, we did principle. When I went to Boise State practice, and if you ever wanted to, we can arrange to get you in on one. They go back every practice and do certain things every day. And they're successful. And it is the basic. It is the core. It is the base of everything you do. Okay? So we did it every practice. No more than 6 minutes. In the beginning it was 10, but our goal was always be done in 5 to 6 minutes. We were impressing the kids that it was important, and we were reinforcing that this was the base of everything they were going to do. Principles is good for blocking and tackling. This last group of kids we had was the best tackling team I've ever had. They started with principles at 9 years old. We had the littlest kid that played corner at 9 that was totally afraid to hit. That kid was our best tackler as a corner at 12. In the last 2 years has been a running back at River Glen. He hasn't grown much, but he got over his fear of hitting, and he has the best technique you've ever seen. So I've set the stage, no pressure. Roger Cantlin, why don't you show him?
Okay. The bottom line is you'll see a lot of stuff on Sunday, you'll see a lot of stuff in high school, you'll see a lot of stuff on Friday night. What we really try to do is break it down, especially at 9 years old, so the principles of contact can be applied to every kid on your team every day, whether they're blocking or tackling. So I'm going to give you a piece before we go back into the kids. Let's just talk about what we're trying to accomplish. If he's blocking me, what would be your technique? I saw you do it over the stuff, right? So very first thing you're seeing is that low man wins. He's got leverage. He's below my pads. That's critical. Now, to turn this into tackling, all he has to do is right shoulder. There's really no difference. It's not complicated. So that's the basic concept, is we want to be able to teach tackling and blocking as we move forward. Now with that concept, I'll move you out of there, and we try, so that's where we want to get, okay? By the way, probably one other thing, and I was thinking of Dan when I first started, when he fit me, go ahead like you're going to block me, you will see that he's square, okay? One of the very first things that I was taught, low man wins, I've got positive leverage, pad control, right, on blocking. On tackling, you don't want to move. You want to split the body in half. So this is right side leverage. If you're going to tackle with the left shoulder, this is left side leverage. The really big deal that we found over the last couple years is if you don't do that on tackling and the player comes in, what's he most likely to do with his head? Spear. You set him up. So your coaching sets this kid up to break his neck. All right? Principles of contact basically moves you over. It allows him to keep his back flat, his eyes up, his head up, and his contact is made with the shoulder pad. Small item, huge difference as far as from a coaching standpoint. Okay? You guys can break. Now, that's sort of where we want to end up. Where we want to start, realize a lot of these kids won't even know what a line of scrimmage is. So one of the things that we try to do is we try to get them to feel what we're trying to teach. So I want you guys all to stand on one leg. Okay? Are you very strong that way? Very strong. Okay? And your coaches can interact. That's how you move through your players. I want you to stand on two legs. Okay? Are you stronger on two legs or one leg? Let your kids feel the difference. Okay? Because if you're immediately saying, well, get in a football position, or when I played at Oregon State, a hip position, breakdown and all that, they're going, we have no clue what you're talking about. So try to get them to feel the drill. The second component is that if you looked at what we did with the fit position here, okay, we moved them over, but there's a key difference that came out of principle. So give me a hip position or a football position like you're going to strike somebody, okay? Now, the big thing here is I want you to put your right foot forward, okay? This is critical. At Oregon, they call it hard points, but it's basically right shoulder, right arm, right leg. This can now be applied because you're not blocking or tackling square, are you? You're blocking or tackling a half of a body. So, go ahead, are you stronger there, or are you stronger there? Which side is stronger? Are you stronger here, or if I push here, are you stronger there?
Right here.
Right, okay. So you can go around and talk to them about the strength of having right foot, same shoulder, same arm, etc., and they get a feel of that. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's sort of how you teach it. Now, there's some just basic steps in this. The first one is, I call it the hip position breakdown. Hawkins referred to it as pistols. So what I want you to do is I want you to do pistols. You'll put left foot forward. You'll have it like you're pulling your guns out, okay? And you're going to step and either tackle with the right shoulder or block. Does that make sense? So when we're blocking, you got your hands down here, you could be on your legs or whatever, but your left foot's forward. So on blocking, it's step, strike, run your feet. Okay? On tackling, lo and behold, it's really the same thing. We refer to pistols as dip, hit, wrap, and run, and that's what's on the top of your sheet. Okay? So on tackling, you're here. So it's dip, which is where we are, hit, right shoulder, okay, wrap, you're grabbing cloth, and I got to tell you, the biggest thing you can do is run through the tackle. Run your feet, especially with your smaller kids. If you don't do that, they're gonna go over on their backs. If they will do that one thing, you'll see small kids. Darren has a story blowing up big kids. So dip, hit, wrap, and run. All right. Do you have any comment on Johnson? I think it's a valid.
One of the key components of this that Roger, I want to emphasize, in Optimus, you're dealing with, remember when John said lack of upper body strength? As they get older and they get in the weight room, they will develop that. You won't have that. So in this game, it's about physics. At Optimus level, the bigger the mass going faster against the smaller mass, they're going to get run over. The more often the smaller kid gets squared up in front of you like this, the more times he ends up on his back. And that was the issue with the small kids in tackling. What principals did, and particularly in tackling, was move me over a half, put me in a better position to offset the physics of his size, and it made me take the step through the tackle. That is the critical component, the tackling. You hear defensive coaches all the time saying to finish the tackle, but they don't teach how to finish the tackle. This teaches to finish the tackle. And if I'm a little guy, if I happen, and I don't happen to be, unfortunately, if I was down here looking in his chest, if I take him square on, I can't win. But if I take a half of him and I do it right and I run through it, I can tackle him. And guess what, guys? As soon as they learn that, the fear's gone and you have a football player. This is what principals can do. Roger, go ahead.
Well, and your big kids don't have much thigh strength. So again, stuff you guys see on Saturday or Sunday or Friday night does not work at 9 years old. So the big kids getting down in this position alone is going to be a 4-year challenge for you. So what you can do with this then is this drill right now. So if I say dip, that's pistols, right? Left foot forward, hands on the pistols. So let's just do it. Everybody's up. Okay, dip. Okay. Right here, you can hold them in that drill and you're building thigh strength. See, the other thing you're doing is everybody on your team can do it. You're not saying, well, here's the greatest athlete I've ever had, and he's the only one that can figure it out. It's everybody across the board, all right? So as a friend of mine once said, let the little fat kid run with a football. You can really address this across the board so you can move kids around in the field. Does that make sense? Okay, so what we do is this. We go dip, hit, which you step with your right foot. This is right side leverage. Wrap, and run. Okay? So you can take them mechanically through these steps as you're doing things. You can then back them off. I mean, anything you can do to teach football, break it into pieces. So you could be back. Everybody back up 5 yards. So you want them to break down. They're running in. So I want you to run in and dip. So run in 5 yards and dip. Dip. Okay, so now you've got them breaking down. You've got them set up. Now you go through the sequence. Dip, hit, wrap, and run, all right? If you want to, as you evolve that then, you can all of a sudden start doing the same fit drills that we showed at the front end. Just flip your lines. Remember, split the guy in half. Okay, so dip, which is left foot forward, pistols, dip, hit, step with your right. See, the right shoulder, you're getting the shoulder pad, the head's out of the way, the back is flat, the eyes are up, they can see. Wrap, grabbing cloth, run. So you can break this into as many pieces as you want to, and the key thing is everybody on the field does it. Now, from a blocking standpoint, line up, last short little thing. So everybody has different ways, but basically it's a punch or a power step. That's your first step, okay, however you're doing it, all right? So where I'd say pistols, I'd say step, that's you got it, strike. Now you step with your right foot, there you go, okay? Now here's a trick, and then I'll get off this, but when you step and strike, you've got this right side leverage, okay? Same shoulder leverage. It's very easy then, believe it or not, to move this guy by simply pulling and pushing. And we call that a steering wheel. So you can have smaller kids handle bigger players. That's why guys that are in martial arts do so well. So that's blocking and tackling, and the drills just go on and on. Anything else? Okay, Coach? Thanks, guys.
Would you, in running through that, would you go left foot, right foot? Alternate?
Absolutely. We will then expand it, so we're doing principles on the right side. We'll say right side leverage. So we turn around and do left side leverage. Okay, we do it on blocking and tackling.
And along those lines, at 9, think of this, gentlemen, as a 4-year progression. So the first night, we would do just what Roger did, facing you, and the coaches would compete. The next night, we might do right only. The next night, left. It's a progression. It's a teaching progression. But again, this is the core for everything that we've done. I truly believe in this. Dan wandered off, but if you ever, he's back. I've seen this work. It is an equalizer. Taught right, taught consistently, and made an important part of what you do. It is everything that you're going to want to teach kids to block and tackle.
Here, what he just said, so let's say this is the left tackle, and he step and struck, no, right foot, right side leverage, okay, he step and struck, okay, he's that tackle, right? Okay, I tell him to go out and play Y or Z for whatever reason. Is there any difference between this technique on the O-line and the stock block in the open field? Okay, is there any reason you can't take your quarterback and put him at a Y, and he now knows how to block? So if you'll teach those two basics at 9 and just continue with them, you can move people all over the field, and you're going to get stunned at who figures it out.